Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Ford, and we're here right now for a tag video. This tag is the 50 Questions You've Never Been Asked tag. I saw this from Steve Donahue on the Steve Donahue Tonight Show with Steve Donahue featuring the Steve Donahue Band. And it looked like so much fun, and as always, and he got it from the restricted section. And as always with Steve Donahue, whenever he does a tag, it seems it flares up in the community, like an outbreak of something particularly viral. And I saw Sarah from Basking in Books. She did a take on this tag as well. And it looks too fun not to do. And a couple of the fun things about it are, one, with 50 questions, there's no way once you finish watching a video that you remember the questions. There's just no way. So everything that every take on this tag that I have seen, every take on this tag that I have seen, it's just you're winging it. You're completely winging it. And I think that that is a fun type of video to watch, especially on something like BookTube, where this is a corner of YouTube that is normally more reserved, more calculated, videos that are more about something than simply, I don't know if this is fair to say, we make content about something versus making the content about us. And in addition to that, there's no way you write down answers to 50 questions. Just no way. So let's get into it. Number one, what is your favorite candle scent? Not a candle guy, not a candle person. That said, my uncle got me one that was called Leather, Tobacco, and Woods, which was particularly delightful. But also, Tanya, I don't know if you can see this, that is a stripped cover lit scented candle from Tanya. I have not burned it. I have smelled it. It smells divine and good looking. But that is probably, I'm going to go ahead and go with my answer for my favorite scented candle is strip cover lit. Number two, which female celebrity do you wish were your sister? That's a strange question. I am not into celebrity culture, so I don't necessarily understand the utility of such a question. That said, I am tempted to say something like Serena Williams, because I spent a good deal of time in high school giving people dirty looks for looking at my little sister. If your sister were someone like Serena Williams or Venus Williams, you know that she could fend for herself. But as I am not into celebrity culture, maybe Ayan Hirsi Ali. She seems incredibly... So I think that what you're aiming for with this question is some celebrity that you would have a direct line to. And to be able to speak to Ayan Hirsi Ali and just run ideas past her would be phenomenal. Number three, which male celebrity do you wish were your brother? Again, I don't understand this infatuation with celebrity culture, especially when these, well, I won't say that all celebrities are celebrities for no reason, but you've got the Kardashians and the Hiltons of the world that are just sort of there for some reason. And then actors who are there for more prevalently, probably. When someone says celebrity, I think that a lot of people automatically associate celebrity with an actor, right? And most actors are people of little skill or appreciable talent. And if you spend any time watching interviews with them, they are in large part, incredibly vapid. Maybe this is not the place for those takes to be had, but that said, anytime a Tom Hardy movie comes out, for some reason I get comparisons to Tom Hardy. And that would be kind of fun because I'd still be the good-looking brother. And in a fight, I think I could take him. But, again, not being into celebrity culture, I would say Sam Harris, because that's another. Sam Harris has the charisma of a mud fence, but he's incredibly well thought out. That said, he is so well thought out and so plain spoken that I am able to understand most of the ideas that he presents. Daniel Dennett, on the other hand, is someone whose ideas give me veritable fits trying to understand. So I'll say Daniel Dennett, despite the fact that there's a pretty big age difference there. That'd be pretty cool to be able to ask him, hey, what the hell do you mean? Number four, How old do you think you'll be when you marry? No, thank you. Number 5. Do you know someone who is a hoarder? Allie from Hardback Hoarder. She's a hoarder. Also my mother. 6. Can you do the splits? Yeah, of course I can do the splits. 7. How old were you when you learned to ride a bike? I believe 5th grade. I believe I was in the 5th grade. And I took a lot of spills learning how to do that, which is probably embarrassing because I think a lot of people learned way earlier than the 5th grade. I didn't have a bike until the 5th grade. So I think that is probably where I'm going to have to go with that answer, which is kind of embarrassing when I think about it. Where were we? How many oceans have you swum in? Can't swum. I never learned to swum. Number 9, how many countries have you visited? Just the United States of America. 10, is anyone in your family in the Army? No. 11, what would you name your daughter if you had one? Children are a blight on humanity. That said, maybe something like Charisma. I think that would be a good one. 12, what would you name your son if you had one? Mephistopheles. 13, what's the worst grade you ever got on a test? I have no idea. I know that I in my community college days, which is particularly embarrassing because most community college professors care even less than their students. But I was struggling. And I don't know that I got some pretty bad math test scores. But I think the worst grade I ever got, it was a history class, and I had to write a paper speaking to a war veteran. And I spoke to a Vietnam War veteran and wrote a paper on a Vietnam War veteran's stories. And for some reason, this guy just hated it, just tore it apart. I didn't think it was a particularly bad paper, but I know there were certain places, like I didn't know. So he was talking about one of the things that would happen when you got ambushed while out on a patrol is, so your line of people stretches out this way. You cross people who are setting up an ambush. Here's the last person in your line. Here's the front person in the ambushing line. This person starts firing here when this person in the front line, in the patrol, crosses his face. The last person in the patrol fires here. And what they do is they spray fire in a crisscrossing pattern because that would mow people down. I was not sure of how to say this, so I used the word ambusher and ambushee. I think that was what drew his ire, and he laughed on my paper, ha ha, which I think is probably pretty amateur for a professor, even if that is where you get your jollies. And people, that class was stupid anyway. That professor was an asshole anyway. Moving on. Where are we? So many questions. What was your favorite TV show as a kid? I was a basic white kid from the Midwest. I loved The Simpsons growing up. It was mythical how many episodes there were, even at that time. But at that time, they were mostly good episodes. Around the time that I was in the 7th grade, they stopped being so special, I think. I don't know if... I'm pretty sure it's still going. I haven't had a TV since 2008. So I don't know if it's still on or not. But I know that there was a time where the quality had depreciated. 15. What did you dress up for... What did you dress up as for Halloween when you were 8? What? 8. I was no longer trick-or-treating. My trick-or-treating career had ended by that time, I think. Yeah, I don't think I was doing that anymore. 16. Have you read Harry Potter, Hunger Games, or Twilight? No. 17. Would you rather have an American or British accent? Why would anyone want to speak like a Brit? I don't understand. Moving along. 18. Did your mother go to university? No. No, she did not. There is a story there. I am not sure how much of it I am at liberty to share. It is not my life. 19. Are your grandparents still married? I know I have no grandparents left. By the time I was born, I had a single living grandparent. My paternal grandfather, I met him once. There's a funny story behind that. So my mother used to call him every year on his birthday. And one year she didn't get an answer. Not a big deal. There were times where she would call and not get an answer. It was a landline, right? So if you weren't home, you weren't getting the call. The next year, the same thing happened. The year after that, she got worried. My little sister looked it up online. He had passed, apparently, a few years prior, which goes to show you how close my family is. 20, have you ever taken karate lessons? No. 21, do you know who Kermit the Frog is? Yeah, Jordan Peterson. 22, what was the first amusement park you visited? It's called Worlds of Fun. It was owned by Lamar Hunt, the owner of the Chiefs, and it was blocks from my high school. 23, which language would you like to be fluent in? It's easy. It would be easy to say Spanish because that would have utility. It would also be easy to say French or German because I have exposure to those languages. I'm going to go ahead and go with Mandarin. That would be interesting to be able to... If you could just spit out Mandarin in the middle of any conversation, people automatically have to take you more seriously. You automatically have respect. Or if you can learn how to do it just gibberish but sound like it's Mandarin, I imagine no one would be able to call you out on it. Do you spell it Gray, G-R-A-Y, or Gray, G-R-E-Y? G-R-A-Y. I am American. 25, is your father bald? Nobody is a son of a bitch. 26, do you know triplets? No. No one knows triplets. They don't exist. That is a medical anomaly that is false. It's made up. It's a figment of someone's imagination. 27, do you prefer Titanic or The Notebook? I saw Titanic once when it very first came out on cassette, when it was 2 cassettes, cassette videotapes. I never saw The Notebook, so I'm going to go with neither. 28, have you ever had Indian food? Yes, there's an Indian restaurant in what is known as Zona Rosa here in Kansas City. It's pretty good stuff from my experiences. 29, what is the name of your favorite restaurant? I'm going to go with Kato. It's a sushi place, but I don't really do that. 30, have you ever been to Nando's? I don't know what that is. And to be honest, I don't think anyone whose take on this tag I have watched had a legitimate answer to that. So if you have any idea what Nando's is, please leave it in the comments below, because I have no idea. 31, do you belong to any warehouse stores? I don't belong to anyone. 32, what would your parents have named you if you'd been the opposite gender? Probably Adrian. 33, what is your nickname? Everywhere that I end up working, it seems I acquire the nickname A-Train, which is strange. Probably because I just go to work and put my head down and do things. Book Yoda here on YouTube from Erica from the Perks of Books. In high school, I used to get called Superman a lot. I imagine because the hair does what it wants to do, and I've got generic white guy face, and I used to be Buff. I think that is all I've ever been called besides my name. Nickname. 34, who's your favorite person in the world? Me. 35, would you rather live in a country or the city? I am a country of my own, so being in the country or the city matters not to me. 36, can you whistle? Only Dixie. 37, Do you sleep with a nightlight? I work overnights. So by the time I am laying down, my nightlight is the sun. And it sucks. Because I live, as I've said, in a studio apartment. And one ray of light from anywhere, and there is a massive window in my front room, which is the only room. There is a massive window through which there's no stopping the light. So I have learned to sleep exclusively during the day. 38, do you eat breakfast every morning? No, and I never have. 39, do you take any daily pills or medication? I do not have insurance, so I do not have medication. I have not had insurance since approximately 2004. I do take a lot of vitamins, multivitamins and echinacea, potassium, calcium and D, fish oil, glucosamine. Trying to see what else I got up there. I've got terrible eyesight, so I can't see, which means I use beta carotene. I take that, but it's not helping. Anyway. What medical condition do you have? Asthma. I think that's it. Probably some other stuff. Who knows? Where am I at here? 41, how many times have you been to the hospital? Well, 0 times in the past 15 years, I'll tell you that much. 42, have you ever seen Finding Nemo? No, and I want to know how you picked Finding Nemo as the one movie that you would choose to ask someone whether or not they had seen. Another thing about that, I'm pretty sure, isn't Finding Nemo sneaking up on probably 20 years old by now? That is an interesting choice. 43, where do you buy your jeans? This is going to be another crusty old man Adrian answer. I have not had a pair of jeans over 5 years. I have not had a pair of jeans in probably 7 years. Maybe I'll have to go out and buy a pair of jeans. 44, what's the last compliment you got? I don't know. 45, do you usually remember your dreams in the morning? I never remember my dreams in the morning. Never, ever, ever. That's not true. Probably once a month I remember a dream after having woken up. But they're normally throwaway experiences. I am not particularly active in my imagination, I guess, during the night. Not particularly creative, which probably says a great deal about me. 46, what flavor of tea do you enjoy? Green tea. I like green tea in almost every variation. I am not opposed to many teas. I don't like cinnamon. And I don't like the, what's the fancy tea that people, chai? I don't like the chai stuff. I don't like any of that sort of flavor stuff. None of it's not good. I don't know why people do it. 47. How many pairs of shoes do you currently own? There's a story behind this. I currently own probably upwards of 16 pairs of shoes. But it's for a reason. I used to be minimalist, wear one pair of shoes kind of guy, have one pair of shoes until they absolutely fall apart. And then when I was in grad school, my grad school classes were in this cloistered little room. In fact, all of my grad school classes happened in the same room, which was an old church that the school had bought, which there's probably some irony in there somewhere. But there was this guy who sat next to me, and his feet fucking stank. Stank up the place. And I sat there the whole semester thinking, God damn, this guy's feet stink. Now, thankfully, the next semester came along, and that guy was not in my classes. But his feet still stank. And I was forced into the realization, those were my feet. My feet stank. People didn't like me because of the way my feet stank. Obviously, I mean, if I didn't like that guy. So now I have so many pairs of shoes. I buy most of my shoes on clearance, like $5 from Walmart. and I won't wear them for more than 2 days in a row because I don't want to be stinky feet guy again. That was awful. That was a terrible realization to have to face about yourself. 48, what religion would you raise your children to practice? Do people really practice religion? Like, is practice the right term for that? When you practice, I don't know. I don't know. Some of my bias is coming out here. I wouldn't raise children to practice any religion. If they wanted to find one, they'd be free to do so. First off, I don't know where I would get these children. Am I just collecting children off of the streets? That sounds dangerous in itself. Plus, those kinds of children probably come with a religion prepackaged. So, I don't know. 49, how old were you when you found out Santa wasn't real? Wow, so we're hitting on not only the Halloween holiday, but the Santa holiday as well. I was a little asshole, I'll tell you that much. I was born and raised a skeptic, so I have never really, and I don't believe I ever was really, really sold on the idea. I remember ruining it for people. As early as the fourth grade, by at least the fourth grade. Possibly earlier than that, I don't know. But yeah, I was a little asshole. 50, why do you have a blog? Because I want one. Because I want to partake in the conversation. Because if anyone's voices are going to be heard, I want my voice to be among those. And really, I think that YouTube should be viewed as more of a social media than it really is. I think that people come to YouTube in order to be entertained. I think there's a lot of people who don't really understand how YouTube works. I think everyone should have a YouTube channel. I really do. Not that everyone should have a BookTube channel or whatever, but I think that there's so. First off, it makes you focus. Just in the same way that I think that everyone should keep some type of journal to record their thoughts. I think that YouTube should work in roughly the same manner. So who do I tag? Juan from Just Juan Reader, because he attacked me when I didn't tag him earlier in the month. Monse from Monse's Manifesto, because I want to hear the piss and vinegar that she pours all over this. Jen from Iffer's Inklings, because I think that she would have interesting takes on a lot of these questions. Tiffany from Hierarchy of Reads, for the same reason. Bree Hill, now I'm not sure that, I don't think Bree watches my channel, but I've been watching a lot of hers recently, and it would be interesting to see her take on this. Erica from Perks of Books, so that I can make fun of a lot of her answers. Amy from the Dusty Bookshelf, because she is Canadian, so she might not really understand the language involved. And Mark from Words Everywhere, because I want to see if he does as good on this type of thing as he does on his poetry reviews, which you should be watching, because his poetry reviews make me jealous. So if you like this sort of thing, I would appreciate it if you hit the like button, subscribe if you have not, and I hope to see you for the next Tag Tuesday, and I hope to see you tomorrow for a continuation of The Dirty 30.